Okay, today we've got a project. What we have here is a tank from my Model 16 gasoline radiant heater. Normally it goes into the heater like this. It slides in from the side, and we've seen this one before. I've had it out here, and the problem I'm having with it is that the generator knob here is extremely hard to turn. I mean, it's like, it shouldn't be that hard. And so what I want to do is I want to replace this packing. And the packing that I've got on there right now, well, the packing, it's the packing that came with it. It is, I've tried loosening as much as possible and really got no joy with that. So it is not working out anywhere near as well as I want to. And it really, I don't want to snap this knob off because it literally takes two hands to open it. And right now it seems to be frozen. I may need to use a little bit of heat to get it to come loose. And that's a bit of a bummer because I really like this one. It's a really cool little heater. It's very compact and makes a lot of heat. The other thing is that when I cleaned this generator the last time I took this off and pulled the coil out, I kind of really distorted the coil. And luckily, take a seat here and maybe move this so you can see me. But, or maybe I should look here, or maybe here. I don't know. Anyway, Cigar Mike, who used to own Old Coleman Parts, you know, he sold his shop off to Rob. And when he did that, he brought a bunch of parts to Austin. When he brought a bunch of parts to Austin, he was like selling them literally for $1 a pound. You just put what you wanted on the scale, and it was, he bought it by $1 a pound, which is insane because, you know, I bought stuff like new burners, and this is like, well, not new, but these are quick light burners that I needed at the time. And it was like, I don't know, I don't even think I spent a 50 cent, a dollar on all the parts that I got. And we all know that those are worth far more than $1. So it was a really nice thing he did for our community. Anyway, I also realized he had a bunch of generator coils and I didn't pick them up. Well, it just so happens that someone from our group, the Lone Star Coleman Collectors group, actually Murray, picked up all the parts. I guess he bought the rest of them out, and then he brought them out to our gathering. So I went through the box because within that box was all of the generator coils that I had seen, and I picked out one of every single, one of every single one. So one of these is bound to fit here, I hope, and then I can have a non-messed up generator coil in there. So that'll be job number 2. But for right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to attend to getting this loose. So step number 1 is gonna be loosening up this packing nut here, which I am assuming it's not going to be very tight because, is this a tweener? Yeah, it was like finger tight essentially because I was trying to make sure it was loose so it could come off. So the idea with this is that I've done a little bit of research and found out, because obviously I don't want to go tearing this graphite packing out before I know if I can actually replace it or not. So Old Coleman Parts had a parts manual for this online. I was able to find the part number for the packing. The packing is the same as, not that one, but this one. So these are graphite packing, and there's 2 of them in here. And this is what, well, maybe I should try this end. Maybe this is a little easier to come apart. Anyway, so there's 2 of them in here. I only need 1, and I will use that to replace the packing. And then this should be a much easier knob to use, because otherwise it's just, yeah, it's, I'm just, like I said, I'm afraid I'm going to damage it. So this is all very nicely packed up in some tissue so it doesn't get damaged. But here is the graphite packing, nice and shiny. So we'll set that in our tray here, roll this back up so it doesn't get lost, and hopefully some of this masking tape is still a little bit sticky enough to keep it from shooting out. So there, that's that. So we got our packing ready. We need to get this loose. For that, I'm going to use a a torch. I don't know. Yeah, there's a little bit in here still. Again, I use for these things a butane torch because this is a much gentler heat. So it's about 1,000 degrees, 1,000, maybe 500. Anyway, it's less than propane, but the sparker in here doesn't work, so I use my propane torch to light the butane torch. So here we go. And since this is a little bit stuck, I'm gonna try to apply some gentle heat. You can see I'm really not getting that pointy part of the flame anywhere near it. And it's gonna take a little while for this heat to kind of soak through because, you know, it's been sitting on the back patio. It is finally cool in Texas, which I do a lot of these videos in advance, right? And it's actually kind of nice to be doing one again because I haven't done one in quite a while. And let's see if this is gonna move now. Man. There it goes. Okay, so it was all the way open. So we'll continue to unscrew this all the way out. Anyway, so like I was saying, it's been a while since I've actually made a video because I had a bunch in the can already, and this is losing. My butane's running out. Had a bunch of videos in the can, so it's actually been a few months since I've done one. Even though you haven't seen any interruption, I do them in advance so that way I can take a little bit of a break because sometimes it just gets a little bit much. Okay, this is going to need some more butane. I don't have much. Oh, there's quite a bit in there. Whoa, Nelly. So we'll just give that a quick fill. And we're back in business. Okay, so try to have this up here so you can kind of see what it is I'm doing. Like I said, I'm keeping the pointy part of this away from the fitting because I really don't want to get a whole lot of heat on here in terms of intense point source heat. I can soften the flame by turning this little thing here, which maybe we'll do that, so it's not quite as intense. So the reason I'm doing all this is because even with the normal way that you would take one of these out is that you would, and I'll heat all this up in here too, because that's going to pull a lot of heat away. There's a lot of thermal mass here to warm up. So normally what you do is that you unscrew the packing nut and then you just keep opening the valve, and the valve will eventually pop the packing out, and then you could take it out and you can replace and put it back in. The nice thing about this is that it actually does have a packing part number, and since it has a packing part number, that means it's replaceable, because some of these, sometimes the way they're kind of constructed, you can't really get the packing back on there. So this is going to be a bit of an experience. So I'm kind of keeping my hand on the knob here, making sure it doesn't get too incredibly hot. But so what happens as these things get older or get used, that fuel kind of leaks by and varnish kind of leaks by and kind of forms in there, which really, that shellac just kind of glues it right together. And you know, I've got that whatever it is here, the Indian head shellac gasket sealant, and you know, of course this shellac probably comes from one of those cochineal beetles, but at any rate, the idea is the same thing. It is something that once you get it warm, it loosens up. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's the extraordinarily long explanation for that. Okay, things are feeling kind of warm, so let's see if we have any progress on getting this to budge. Oh yeah, it's budging. Okay, so let's go ahead and shut this down. You can see that the packing is just starting to come out, and we're going to continue to crank this out. Ooh, that is quite warm. So you see how much of the packing is out now. So that's quite a bit. Probably should have, there's no pressure in the tank, so yeah. So when you get into a situation where the it just gets to be too tight to turn, you have to eventually just replace the packing, because for whatever reason, and I've talked with my other collector buddies, and they say, yeah, there's no solution for that other than to take it out. So see if I can hang on to this a little bit. Now it doesn't want to come out. It has it's unscrewed itself, but I think it's no longer engaged with the screw, and it's also still not coming out. So that is a bit of a problem. Let's see, let me think about this here, because I know I want to take this off. I don't think it's holding it on there. I could start to chip away at this, hoping to break it loose, but excuse me. I don't want to damage this shaft, because then it'll start to leak. So I guess we just kind of keep pulling on it and hoping that it'll come out. Although it's not really. Yeah, that packing doesn't want to move. Okay, so instead of having y'all sit here and watch me struggle with this, I think I'll probably do is maybe hit it up with, or just tap it and start to crack it out of there, and try to pull it out that way. It's a little bit unfortunate. If I take this off here, there's still that big long cleaning rod with a needle in the end, which I don't want to damage. So I'm going to leave all this attached on here, because I don't believe there's any way that I could push in here anyway to get that to move out. So I'm going to try to attack it all from this side. It's going to take a while, so we'll be back in just like that. So that actually was easier than I thought, right? So I just kind of went in and gave her an almighty yoink, and she yoinked right out. So I guess that's great. And then when I pulled it out, I was like, oh my God. And I was like trying to pull my pull, like pulling a punch. Stop. And when I did that, I jammed this again there, and I bent my needle, my cleaning needle, but a little couple of taps with a hammer, and it is back straight just like it was. And now we can kind of see the assembly that's here. Obviously this is a non-removable knob, so you can't come off this way. This is the packing that's sitting in here just like that, and then you have a I don't know, a ferrule, piece of brass, whatever. The flat side that it has, because it's got a flat side and it's got a recessed side. You can see the recessed side. Flat side always goes against the packing. And then you have a little split ring here that's on this and sits in a groove. That's what keeps this from coming off. This is the safety. Once everything goes all kind of crammed down and tightened down like it's supposed to be, that keeps you from unscrewing the valve all the way out, and then just having pressurized fuel shooting out of there at a furious pace. So the way to replace these is that you have to spread that ring just a little bit, and then that will come off. And then once you've done that, then you can I'm just going to clean this out here, because I can use this as a parts tray. Once that little split ring is off, then you can slide the little brass piece off of there, and then once that is off, then you can slide the packing off and replace it. Honestly, the packing looks really good, so I'm kind of puzzled as to why it's so tight and hard to turn. But at any rate, we're going to replace that. It's nice because we'll actually be able to take this packing off in one piece, so no worries if things don't go the way we're supposed to. And then also be aware that there is yet another, if I can move it down here, there's another brass piece on this side. So you have brass, you have packing, you have this little other ferrule here, and then you get that split ring. So when you clamp down with this pushes against the brass, which pushes against the packing, which makes it slightly swell, and then it gets into the sides of the valve body, compresses against that, compresses against the valve stem. You have a leak-free fitting. Ta-da! So as these things age, they also have a tendency to be less flexible. I never really thought about that, but heard that mentioned this past weekend. It's like, hey, are your ferrules still, or ferrules, are the packing still flexible? And they're like, oh yeah, they're pretty flexible. I was like, huh, never heard or thought about that. But here we are. So I was like, so that's why. I think that with some of these, when they get too old, they need to be replaced, because they just lose their flexibility. So that way, when you take the pressure off of them, they lose the ability to spring back. And maybe somebody tightened this down too tight to start with, because I can see here this bottom one here also needs to be replaced. That might be a second video or something. This bottom one needs to be replaced because it's got a little bit of a leak on it. So maybe they tightened the heck out of this thinking that was what was leaking, but in reality that one was. So anyway, that is kind of where we're at with that. And now I'm going to sit here and probably struggle mightily trying to get this little ring opened up. So yeah, this might actually prove to be equally as challenging, because there's just not a whole heck of a lot of room in there to spread that apart. I'm not super worried about getting it back on. Okay, yeah, that's moving. Because it's brass and it's soft, so it should just kind of slip over. So I'm gonna try to convince it a little bit more and get it to slide off. I'm just trying to get one side open a little bit, so that way I can just get it over that hump, and then hopefully the rest of it will kind of follow. So far it's fighting me. That's all right. We'll get a little bit more leverage on this. And then hopefully it will slide off. Boy, it really likes that, staying in that groove pretty much. I just need to get this other side open just a little bit. Okay, how much bigger does it need to be? Wow, I really got this thing spread, and it does not. Here it goes. Okay. Well, got it down to the screw thread, so we'll just go with the flow and unscrew it. Instead of trying to open it anymore. I mean, I opened the heck out of that. You can see. I mean, that's quality work right there. Not really. So here is the that little backing piece. So again, look for the side that has a recess versus the side that's flat. So that's the side that's flat, and that's the side that has the recess. That's the side that goes against that ring. Next comes off the packing, which comes off easily and in one piece. It's a little bit shorter than the new one. The new one's pretty shiny. So yeah, we'll see how that works. And then we got the other brass piece here, which is what pushes against it. It's flat on both sides, so that doesn't matter. And then finally our packing nut. So this is a great time now to clean this up, and you can see where that packing's been riding on it, because it's very polished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bit of this number 4 steel wool and spin it around on there and polish that out. Now I'm going to go in the direction that it's turning, not this way, but this way, right? And all I'm going to do is hold it on here, and then I'm gonna just spin the knob, right? So I'll do this way. So if I'm putting any kind of marks in the surface or anything like that, I'm going in the same direction as it would normally be acquiring damage from just spinning. and when you have them in the same direction, you won't wear out your packing. And this will also make it easier to turn, especially if it is kind of a little bit tarnished or has other surface imperfections. If you go this way, you may put grooves in it this way, and that's always going to scrape against that packing as you turn it. So we'll just kind of finish kind of cranking around here, and we'll see how bright and shiny that's getting. It's actually getting very bright and shiny. So that looks quite nicely polished, so that's exactly what we want to see. So we'll set this over here. It's got a little bit of there was as a result of trying to get some of the pressure off of it, I loosened it up a little bit, so it probably passed a little bit of fuel through this. So we'll just kind of clean that out a bit, and then clean out this other brass piece. Get that kind of polished up, and then we'll go ahead and reassemble, and then that will be ready to go back in. But before we completely reassemble this, we're going to pull that generator off and see if we got lucky with the replacement coil. So nut goes first. Actually, you know what? While I have this apart and I have some of this on hand, I'm going to just kind of do a quick and here you can go this way. It doesn't really matter because it's not really rubbing against anything. You're not going to damage anything. But this is just to clear off any kind of carbon that may have accumulated down here, and it'll keep all the fuel flowing through there as much as possible. So a little dark spot right here in the middle. Feels a little bit rough, but it's kind of coming off. Yeah, this number 4 steel wool is really one of your best things. I just realized that I don't have my mic anywhere on me. Nice. Okay, wow. Now, welcome to audio again. Well, sorry about that. That was probably coming very much out of one speaker or another. So, well, this is the production quality you get here when you have a one-man show, right? So, okay, whoops, got to get the packing nut on first, being careful not to damage the needle. And then next comes this piece of brass. Next is our new packing, which should be much nicer to deal with. Then we put our last little bushing on there with the flat side towards the packing. And then finally the ring that goes on here. Maybe I'll get lucky and just be able to push it on. Yeah. And then we'll just use some pliers to close it up. Which may be more of a challenge than I give it credit for. I don't know. Maybe it'll, oh no, geez, well, that's just like factory. That actually went on there super nice. Okay, I did not expect it to look quite that good after I completely munged it up. Anyway, so here is our whole new assembly, new packing, and the two pieces of brass either side, and the ring, and then this, of course, the making contact with that ring. So that's how that will all go in. So we're going to set that aside for the moment, and we're going to turn our attention to getting this generator out of here. And I'm trying to remember exactly how I went about doing this last time. I don't know if I use this with these, because this one doesn't have a fitting on it where you can actually put a wrench on it. This is only for the gas tip, so hopefully this will, nope. Probably we probably want to heat that a bit, since this is got everything out of it. I can do this. Of course, now I have a very good chance to burn the heck out of my hand. And of course, before we put this all back in here too, we're going to clean inside that. Let me go get a pair of pliers that maybe that'll work a little better. Yeah, I'm just trying not to completely munge this up, so hopefully this will work better. Yeah, let's not grip onto the hot pieces. There she goes. All right. This is, let's see where the heat is. Okay, there we go. So I can see the coil sitting right there in the end. I'm hoping it is still relatively not stuck. Incorrect. Let's see. I used this last time, I think, to get it in there and try to pull it out. So it doesn't want to play. So what we're going to do is, let's see, yep, that's the one for that. We're going to go ahead and, ouch, burning me. Well, I had that piece of, oh, yeah, this. Put this in here so I don't goof up my generator too much. And then, because we're just going to take the gas tip off, right? Take the gas tip off, which that comes off nice and easy. Which also seems to have an endless amount of threads on it. Huh, gas tip stayed with the tip. So now we've got a generator that's just essentially a tube that we can whale on. But the other cool thing is, now that we've got access to this end of it here, I can see if I've got any of these that fit. So ones that look like they're supposed to, that really looks just like it. That's like the same length and everything. This may be it. Cool. Okay. So now we got to do is get this dude out of here. And I tell you, last time I did this, it took a lot of heat and quench. But you know, I haven't run this thing very much, so I'm hoping that it's just not that stuck. So we're gonna just kind of do some of this to it. There we go. Yep. So yeah, they tell you that when you do this, that the coils can get distorted, and they certainly can. So that's kind of what you're dealing with here. But we've got one here that is pretty much the exact replacement for it. So this will go right in there and be a perfect replacement. So yay for that. That's great. We'll keep this just in case, because you just never know. Let's see. But one thing I want to do is that I've got some, oops, I don't want to lose my test tubes here. I've got some bore brushes that I want to maybe run through here before I put everything back together. And the thing is I'm looking for the right size bore brush, and I don't really see it. Okay. If I was a bore brush, where would I be? So, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this dude out of here first. Yeah, because I usually put all these right back in my spot here, because otherwise you lose them, and that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. These I think are both too small, because yeah, these are both too small. Well, I thought I had everything I need right here. Alrighty then. So, right, a bit of a, well, that's a bit of an annoyance. Alright. Okay. Well, we're going to do the best we can with what we've got, which is not really the optimum size, but at least it'll be a brush of some sort to go in and out of there. And that way we'll remove any kind of carbon that may have built up. Actually got quite a bit coming out. I wish I had that right size brush, because that was actually, I picked it as the right size to fit this thing. So that's a little bit annoying that I've managed to lose the blasted thing, because it was just perfect. It was a 338 Lapua brush, and yeah, that fit just right. So yeah, very kind of annoying that I've managed to completely lose it. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. Great. Okay. So, well, at least with this, we're knocking out some carbon. It looks pretty pretty clean. Put our new coil in there, and these are truly coils. They're not springs, because as you can see, they don't really spring back. So yeah, so there's that. Let's see. Now we're going to go ahead and reassemble. So let's go ahead and put the gas tip back on here, and let's see, it goes onto this end, I believe. Do this, and what we'll end up doing is we'll use this as a way to tighten the generator up, and that should torque everything down nicely. Okay, that's hopefully enough. I'll know if it isn't, because I'll smell it, right? Next, we want to see if we can get in there and clean a little bit of that. I thought I had some Q-tips laying around here, which would have been great for the purpose, but unfortunately, we do not have any of those. So a dirty shop rag will have to suffice. It really looks pretty good. We're going to put a little bit of, where's the carb cleaner? Here we go. Put a little bit of carb cleaner on here. Hopefully it doesn't blast me in the eye holes. Oh, there it comes. Well, it's not doing much anything. So there we go. Here's the replacement, because we don't screw around here on gas under pressure. It's serious business. So yep, let me saturate part of this, and then we'll just kind of stick that in there. The reason I'm using carb cleaner is because we're dealing with carbon and varnish, and that's exactly what carb cleaner is supposed to do. I use the brake clean to remove oil and grease, and of course it'll remove just about anything else too. So that really looks pretty clean. So I think that's ready for reassembly. So we'll just take this little dude right here and just drop it straight down in. And so what you want to do here now is that obviously you can see we don't, there's the packing. There you go, there's the packing. So we're going to go ahead and screw this in. That will start the process of getting that packing down. Sometimes you got to kind of push on it a bit to get it to go, to get that first thread to engage. But once it starts engaging, it's going to push that down in there. So that's exactly what's happening now. This will allow me to turn the valve in. And then we grab our wrencharoo. No, is this the one that I said this didn't fit anything I have? I think so. Correct. So we use one of these, which I hate to use, but that's what we got. So do that. So right now, valve is all the way open and valve is all the way closed. So that's nice. And then I'm just gonna apply some pressure on there until I feel it giving me pretty good resistance on the valve. And that's kind of where I feel right now. I don't want to tighten it down too much. So if you tighten it down too much, you'll completely be unable to turn it. And you only need to adjust it about that much at a time to exactly see, because once you're there, it doesn't take much for it to really do the seal. But this is so much better than it was before, because I really literally could not do it unless I used 2 fingers, and I always knew when I was using this heater because I'd go in with sore fingers at the end of the night. So that is it. That is the replacement of the valve packing in a Model 16 heater and the valve packing in the generator section. I might need to do this other one here, but maybe it has quite a bit of adjustment left in it. So I may just need to apply some torque to it and tighten it up some. I think this one may actually fit. I hope so, because it would be a lot easier to do yet. So will that move any? No, it doesn't want to move. So it may be out of adjustment. It may be bottomed out because it turns relatively free. So, or it may be gummed up. So at any rate, that's about as far as I think I want to go with this one. But that's it. That's the coil replacement for the generator and the packing replacement for this. Everything operates really nice and easy now, just like it's supposed to. And we'll be on the way to warming up the patio. So until next time, keep them lit.